Titilayo Adeleye is a seasoned architect, a certified life and family coach, and an ordained minister of the Redeemed Christian Church of God Mission. She holds a Bachelor of Science, BSc, and Masters of Science, MSc, degree in architecture from the Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, Nigeria, and is currently the CEO of Eden Group, a consortium of companies specializing in architecture, property, development, project management, and interior design. Titi Adeleye is a fellow and council member of the Nigerian Institute of Architects, NIA, a full member of the Architects Registration Council of Nigeria, ARCON, and a past vice chairperson, Lagos State Chapter of the Nigerian Institute of Architects. Pastor Mrs. Adeleye is a member of the Board of Altar Ministers at the RCCG, Dominion Sanctuary, Ogba, Lagos, as one on the ministers in charge of the youth church, where she fulfills her passion for the impartation of life and leadership skills into the lives of the youth and teenagers by being actively involved in mentoring the younger generation and guiding them towards fulfilling their godly purpose in life, and ultimately seeing them mature to mentor others. Titilayo Adeleye is a certified Christian counselor and a trained transformational life coach. She is the author of the best-selling book on etiquette and social conduct, Become a Better You. Pastor Adeleye is a firm believer in excellence expressed through kingdom principles. To this end, she is the founder of the Eden Initiative, an organization that seeks to positively impact humanity through the impartation of godly values and the provision of care, comfort, and support to vulnerable members of society. Architect Mrs. Adeleye sits on the boards of many reputable organizations. She speaks nationally and internationally at conferences, workshops, and training programs for professional and socio-religious groups. She has received numerous awards in recognition of her contributions to society. She is married and blessed with children and enjoys dance and music in her spare time. Let's welcome architect Titilayo Adeleye.
Good afternoon, ma. Thank you so much for honoring this interview on Architect's Corner. We are glad to have you. Please, can we get to know you?
Thank you. Good afternoon, Rose. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting me. I'm happy to be here.
All right, thank you, ma. Please, can we get to know you? How you got into architecture, and tell us about your journey to architecture. What inspired you to pursue the career?
So my name is Titilayo Adeleye. I got into architecture, I would say, by providence. While I was growing up, I always had this keen interest in buildings. And in addition to that, I was quite intelligent. And my parents, God bless them, they invested in a lot of creative toys for me and my siblings. They bought us building blocks, used to be called Lego. And so this went on. And one thing I recall is that from when I was about, 2 or 3 years old, I can recall the floor plan of every house that we lived in. I can recall the streets map of every place we lived in from about age 2. So this went on until I now got into secondary school. I found out I was quite good in both the arts and the sciences. And fortunately, we had a very good fine arts and technical drawing department in my secondary school, the Federal Government Girls College, Oyo. And architecture was a perfect expression for my skills. I was good in the arts, I was good in the sciences, and I was creative. So I would say all my skills dovetailed into my becoming an architect. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, ma, for that response. Can you share any specific strategies or resources that helped you navigate the early stages of your career as an architect?
Thank you, Rose. So what I would say about that, and I would say some of the things I'm going to say with the benefit of hindsight, what I would tell my younger self, and I tell younger people now, Number one, there are no shortcuts in life. So if you're going to study architecture, ensure that you go to an accredited school, a good school. And then, architecture is not a course where you stop at BSc. So I went to the Obafemi Awolowo University, then it was University of Ife. And even though I was tempted to go and do some other things after my BSc degree, I was advised that architecture is not a course that you stop at BSc, and that I should do my master's at this church. And that was very good advice. And because, I mean, you are there 5 years or 4 years, you're studying architecture. Your classmates that you started with already serving, earning money. So sometimes you're tempted. But my first advice would be to anybody studying architecture, do everything at this church. The master's degree completes architecture. That is number one. Number two is also that you must get tutelage. You must get mentored. When I wanted to start working, I wanted to start working in the city of Lagos. I listed the 5 biggest architectural firms and made up my mind I was going to work with one of them, even if it was for free. And that was what I did. And that helped me to get licensed very quickly. That helped me, that helped to expose me to architecture at a very high level. And it was a kind of springboard into practice for me. The third thing I would say is that as you grow in the profession of architecture, as you transit from school to practice, you must know that relationships are important. You must guard your name and your reputation very, very jealously. Because those people that you begin to deal with, as an associate architect, as a junior architect, you all go together in the same field, in the same industry, so you must do everything to protect your name, your brand, and your reputation. You must make sure every job that comes your way, no matter how small, with a touch of excellence. The very first big break I got in architecture was after I did a stand at a trade fair. It was a very small job, but I didn't know the MD of the company was watching me, and it was a trade fair, so we had to build and deliver, very quickly. And they went on to become one of my biggest clients.
Wow. That's interesting. So, Ma, I know you were an architect, so I was wondering, I once read your book, Become a Better You. So I was wondering how you were able to, as an architect, also author a book on etiquette. So since your book touches on personal development and right etiquette, how can one, especially architects, integrate principles of personal development into architectural practice? As a matter of fact, I have the book here. So,
You have a copy. Oh,
yes,
yeah, that's interesting. Thank you very much, Rosie. And I must commend you. You're a young person, you are doing very well, and you're doing everything to develop yourself, and that's quite commendable. And that, I would say, is what attracts me to young people. You must be the best that you can be, not just architects. Like I said, you must protect your brand. Nobody is born with the total knowledge of what to do. You develop yourself to that level. And you can only develop yourself to the extent of the effort that you make. So back to my book, Become a Better You. In the course of my career, I've spent about 35 years in the profession of architecture.
Wow.
And yes, and in my dealing with young people, my contemporaries, boardroom meetings, site meetings, across architecture and in other social, religious settings, I realized that nobody was telling the younger people what to do. I realized that some people had nobody to mentor them. I realized that we're not making much of a headway by just criticizing younger people and shouting them down and telling them that they don't know what to do if we are not making an effort to provide that information. I realized there was a vacuum in that area. We just assume that everybody knows what to do. But then nobody, like I said, is born with the knowledge of knowing what to do. Some people are fortunate to be born in families where, they have all the information and all the tools they need, but some are not. So that was why I decided to write that book as my own contribution, to that gap in knowledge. It's a book on etiquette and social conduct. And it touches on communication, interaction, public speaking, personal grooming and hygiene. It touches on a very wide variety of topics. And I must say, since I wrote the book, so it was during COVID, everybody was at home, not much was happening. And before then, I'd been giving talks on etiquette. So I put together all my talks and the book came out. And honestly, the reception was quite encouraging. I was surprised myself. So there's a gap in that knowledge. And I would encourage anybody that's listening that to the people in your sphere of influence, be a positive influence, especially the younger people. Tell them what to do. If they make mistakes, correct them. And then everybody should now pay it forward.
Thank you so much, Ma. But you didn't mention how can someone get this in case there are listeners that would say, okay, let me get this book and at least improve my etiquette and social conduct.
All right. So the book is available on Amazon for those that are listening from outside Nigeria. It is also available in Nigeria, Latana bookshops in Lagos. But mostly, there's also direct contacts. I mean, if you're listening to that, you contact Rosie, she would tell you, where to get a copy. So right now we have them in Lantana bookshop. We have them in Roving Heights bookshop in Lagos. It's on Amazon, it's on Seller. And of course, there's direct copy, the direct contact. So you can always get a copy, send me an email, send Rosie a message, and then a copy can be gotten to you.
All right. Thank you, Ma, for that. Thank you for the contribution to the lives of the young ones. It makes a whole lot of difference. So, Ma, then our next question is, since your career journey, what are some pitfalls or mistakes that young architects should avoid as they begin their professional practice? And what advice will you give to aspiring architects, particularly those navigating the industry in Nigeria?
Thank you very much, Rosie. And that's a very interesting question. So again, I would refer to my own journey and a few things I've known that have happened to people, along my journey. The first thing I would say, and I touched on it before, so I passed my professional exams very quickly. I passed my professional exams within 3 years of graduation. And I went to the private practice quite early. But if I were to do it again, I would say most young people should spend more time working for other people before venturing out on their own. These days we see even students, they already registered firms, they're already principal partners, so there's so many things that you learn, working with people. Number one, you build a wide network of colleagues, associates that you grow together in the industry. Secondly, you learn the unwritten rules in architecture, people skills, how to deal with clients, how to smell a job, how to payments. It's not just about, the best architects are not the most successful ones, but there's so many other soft skills that by people that have gone that path, that have gone that journey before you. And the next thing I would say to anybody that is starting out in architecture, indeed any young person, any profession, is that you must, once you start your company, invest in your company as an entity. You must make your company, you must put structure into your company so that your company can run independently of you. By the time your firm is 10, 12 years, your firm should own property. So that, because in this profession, architecture, there are downtimes, there are good times. So that, you are on a good footing. When the jobs are coming, you're good. If there's a downtime, when the jobs are not, so you are not running around to pay salaries and all that. So you must put structure in your company as an entity, and then you must give your workers a feel of ownership, that this is our farm, we own it. When you have good jobs, you know, like pay good commissions, let the joy go around. Pay good that have been working with me for well over 25 years and, you know, on the field. So you must don't just be me, myself, and I. You know, don't be like a one-man thing. Yes, let your company be able to run independently of you. And of course, you must keep developing yourself. You know, again, I have a passion for young people, and I believe in reverse mentoring. I learn a lot from them. A lot of people in my office, they are faster than me in all the architectural softwares. So I learn a lot from them. And lastly, I would also say that, you know, make sure that your reputation is unblemished. Don't let people walk away from you sour from a deal, or, you know, it's better to actually lose money than to have your reputation tarnished. So you can hold your head up high anywhere and, you know, be able to say that I'm a professional, I'm an architect, so that people don't speak ill of you.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you for that response. Then, Ma, this question is for, since you've been practicing for over 35 years, and also a mother. So this question would be coming from women. Someone asked, how can one, especially as a woman, how can one stay relevant in the design and construction industry, especially being a mom of 4 kids?
All right, that's a very interesting question, and I get that question a lot.
Yeah.
And I tell people that for women, for female professionals, especially in the African setting, in the Nigerian setting, I say this, you know, women are assumed not to know what they're doing until they prove otherwise. Men are assumed to know what they're doing until they prove otherwise. So as a woman, you have to work extra hard to prove your mettle. You have to approach every task that is given to you with dedication, passion, and do it excellently well. In architecture, you know, we're not allowed to advertise, we're not allowed to like put up billboards and all that, but then it's your job that would advertise you. So if you do a job excellently well, it becomes immaterial whether it was done by a man or a woman. The fact remains that it was done well. And next time, a client or whoever it is needs somebody, they'll say, go and call me that woman. And for women, I always say, get support. You know, prioritize. Time management is key. One thing I do is that I make lists a lot. I always have pen and paper with me. I'm always listing my to-do list. You know, I don't rely on, I'll forget or remember. I have a sketch pad or because I do as an architect, so I draw. You know, so I have I make lists a lot. And as I'm carrying my task, I tick them off. Ticking them gives you a sense of satisfaction. You know, you must think ahead. And I think, honestly, architects are taught, we are trained to be able to see the end of the project from the beginning. And as women have an eye for detail. So I actually think female architects are very privileged. If you combine your natural attributes as a woman with your training as an architect, you really should be coasting home.
Okay, thank you, Ma. Then I think also on that same line, especially as someone as a young architect, especially as someone that is just starting and then also just getting into family and marriage, how will you navigate, especially when as a single you had all the time to do go do all the things you have to. Now you have kids are coming and you're trying to navigate both new environments. How can one manage such?
Okay, thank you very much for that question, Rosie. I beg to differ a bit, because right from school, as an architecture student, one thing I realized that you couldn't do what everybody else was doing. You were busier than most people. And I believe that, you know, as architects now, especially as female architects, we carry that on into our lives as we, you know, transit to become mothers, wives, and homemakers. What I would say is that be yourself. Be yourself. You know, to whoever you're going to navigate this journey of life with, let them know who you are. Let them know the nature of job that you do. It must actually be a plus. You know, and then one thing I would also say that when my children came along, I realized that I had to sacrifice. And that's not peculiar to architecture, really. As a woman, if your children are young, sometimes you have to sacrifice. So it now depends on what your priorities are. So there was a period in my career where I actually had a home office. My office was at home. So I would get up very early, lay out work for my staff to do when they come. So they could go on, you know, the office could run, and then while I'm getting my children ready for school. So you really have to find out a way to make everything work. And of course, you know, I say to young ladies as well, you know, and young men who choose to do this, you must make sure that you choose somebody who is understands the person you are, who is desirous of the fact that both of you make progress and willing to sacrifice. You know, no woman has any business being in a relationship with somebody who is putting pressure on you, who wants to take everything, who doesn't understand. So everything comes together. You must make sure that in choosing, you choose somebody who would say, oh, take your time, who would say, oh, how can I help you? Who would say, what can I do to help out? Who would, you know, be like wind, you know, to your wings. Because you don't want to be in a relationship where it's an added pressure. The life of an architect is already kind of a life of pressure. You have deadlines to meet and all that. So you need, like I said, you need support. Your husband, your children, your family should be a support system, not otherwise.
Okay, thank you so much, Ma. That's very helpful. I'm sure the person that asked this question would find this interesting too. What upcoming trends or innovations do you foresee shaping the field of architecture, both globally and within Nigeria?
All right, thank you for that question, Rosie. Definitely technology, definitely technology. And I will start by saying that, you know, the world is not a global village. So you can actually have your office in Lagos and have your drawings being done in India. If it may be cheaper, you know, to actually do that, have your office in Nigeria, have your drawings being done in another country, because the world is now a global village and technology has shrunk the world. And, you know, so everything is now borderless. So we need to, you know, evolve with technology. And that brings me to smart homes. I think smart homes are, you know, the way to go. And it's not that far-fetched anymore. You have CCTVs in your home now that you can control from your phone. You can switch on or your television. You can do so many things. Even monitor your kids from your phone. And I believe that as architects, we should also apply that into our personal lives. These days, you want to write a letter to your clients, the templates are there, AI is there. You know, so to the older generation who grew up having to do everything, it's a bit difficult for us to accept. There are things that are easier now, you know, but they really are. And everybody must embrace technology. It's such a good aid to our jobs, to our careers, even to running the home, to our design. And as architects, we must be forward-looking and building technology into every home that we design. Because right now, even in the villages now, you have solar panels. So when you are doing your wiring, no matter how basic the design is. You must, do the batching of your wire in such a way that they can put some gadgets on solar and all that. So we must be forward looking. The way to go definitely is technology and smart homes. And so we must work smart, not work hard anymore. Yes, work hard, but also work smart.
Thank you, ma. So finally, what do you wish you had done when you were starting your career in architecture, and what words of encouragement would you offer to aspiring architects?
Okay, so let me start by telling aspiring architects that architecture is a noble architecture profession you can enjoy. Architecture is a fulfilling profession. Imagine conceiving an idea, it's in your mind, then you walk through it, and eventually you see it standing beautiful. Each time you go past it, I designed a school some time back. Anytime I pass by the school and I see children running all over the place, it gives me so much joy. And I think architecture is one of those few professions where you can actually see the product of your design physically, and it gives so much joy. But one thing now, that brings me to what I would tell younger people and what I wish I knew as a younger person. I wish I knew that design was probably was not all that an architect does. So if you ask me to put like a percentage on it now, I would say what an architect does is just about 50%, design just about 50%. You have to be a project manager. You have to know how to write good reports. You have to know how to negotiate. You have to have social ties, know how to get it, because no matter how good you are, and the jobs are not coming, you have to know how to go there, get the jobs. You have to know how to navigate the social terrain. And, you have to know how to you have to be an entrepreneur. You have to have knowledge in finance. As a matter of fact, if I were to walk this journey again, I would at least maybe do an MBA and, spread my tentacles. And there are a lot of other skills that architects need. And I always say to a lot of schools of architecture now, they should teach their students entrepreneurship. And that is why even the architect, as the leader of the construction industry these days, we really need to design is all do. That is not the case. We also need to build ourselves up in people skills, business skills, social skills, entrepreneurship skills, project supervision, project management, just things like that, aside from design.
Thank you so much, ma. Thank you for that response. Then, as students who just got into architecture school and looking forward to exploring the profession when they come out, what's your own words to them?
Well, I would say, like I said, for architecture students, you should know that you're different. You are different. But as a matter of fact, that is why only the best students get into architecture. So if you go into architecture school thinking that you can go to all the parties, you can go to all the outings, you need to realize that you're different. You can't do what other people are doing. Architecture is going to task you. It's going to take a lot of your time. And you have to be willing to work hard. You have to be ready to work hard. And there's student juries. And as an architecture student, you must build up your self-esteem so that when your work is being criticized, either by your peers or by your lecturers or supervisors, they're not criticizing you. They're just trying to make your work better. You must build up resilience. Resilience, you must toughen up. You must know how to work hard. And it's only just beginning journey. There's still a lot to learn. You have to get licensed. You have to go to you have to learn how to. What you learn is just like a stepping board. You now have to learn what obtains and practice. And I honestly would say that takes another 5 years. But then when the rewards start coming in, it's really quite rewarding. It's really quite exciting when you get to the point where you actually start designing buildings. You actually go to a place and you are called an architect. Everybody is second. It's quite extraordinary. A lot of students don't wait to get to that point, So once they get to maybe year 4 and they do design and build for some uncle, they go and print a business card and they think they're qualified architects. That is not the case. We must learn delayed gratification, go the whole hog. And there are no shortcuts in life. I know young architects that I met in my journey as an architect that, they refuse to do their qualifying exams then, they refuse to maybe do their master's degree then, they refuse to, and the more you leave it, the more difficult it becomes to go back and do those things. So don't try to take shortcuts. Even if your lecturer, you think you know more than your lecturer, still listen to them. They have years of experience in teaching and instructing, and the teaching curriculum has been structured to train you. So don't say, oh, why are they telling me to do freehand sketching? I mean, it's already good. We're trying to establish a coordination between the brain and the hands. So that as an architect, you go to a site in Sokoto, or somewhere that is far, and your iPad or your you don't have access to AutoCAD, you can do a freehand sketch that can be taken as an architect instruction, even anywhere you are. So there are no shortcuts. That would be the summary of what I would tell any architecture students. Yes, it's tough. Yes, it's hard work, but then there are shortcuts, and at the end, it's satisfying and gratifying.
Thank you so much, Ma. We're really grateful to have you on Architect's Corner. Thank you for sharing from your wealth of experience and knowledge. Thank you for listening to all our questions and providing answers. We are sincerely grateful. Thank you once again.
I enjoyed talking to you, and I celebrate you, the work you're doing, and I know that, I mean, the way you started, we look forward to seeing you in very high places. We're looking forward to your book as well. I don't know if I'm letting the cat out of the bag, and looking forward to you doing greater things. Once again, anybody that wants my book can drop their email address in the comment section. My team will get in touch with them, and we'll take it from there. And I want to give out 5 free copies to the first people that drop their email addresses. Yes, but they would have to. Yes, so if they drop their email addresses and tell me how they can collect the books, I want to give 5 free copies just to support this platform and the great work you're doing.
Thank you so much, man. That's awesome. Thank you. Thank you once again. All right, bye.
Bye, Rosie. Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye. God bless you.
You too. So to wrap up this video session, do you have any questions bothering you about the NIA, ACORN, architecture and architectural practice in general in Nigeria? I'll leave a link in the description of this video so as to enable you ask your questions. Don't forget to subscribe so that you get notified when the questions have been answered by architects and when I upload the next video. And finally, share this video to your friends so that more people can be informed and send in their questions. We can all learn from one another. Thank you so much. Thank you for watching. I hope this was informative. Thank you. See you next time.